This is the Dynasty Roundtable podcast. We are, by the time this comes out, we will be 1 week, just about a little over 1 week until the NFL draft. It's hard to believe it's here already, even though it always feels like for me, because I create so much content. I kind of want the NFL draft to get here already, but I also love creating content around the NFL draft. So I'm kind of like, I want it to come quickly, but also I want time to create more content. Anyway, I have mixed feelings about it, but I'm happy that it's right around the corner. Matt Babich, tonight we are going to be doing a 4 round rookie mock draft, the biggest mock draft we have done up to this point, and hopefully it doesn't take too long, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I think speaking for maybe I'm speaking out of turn here, but we'll probably go a little bit quicker on the first 2 rounds as we've done a lot of those mocks before. All 24 of those guys, you have heard our analysis at some point. And if you have not, check out other mock drafts on this YouTube channel where we have yet to do the NFL draft. There's still, even if it was a month, 2 months ago, there's still a lot of actionable discussions that we had. So go ahead and check those out. And while we're at it, like and subscribe. It's going to be
There
a
you
great
go.
one. This is awesome. This is the type of stuff we should be doing right before the NFL draft. And I, unlike you, cannot wait for it to happen because I'm a little bit tired of what can be, and I'm ready to talk about what is.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's going to be, I don't know how you feel about this, but I think it's going to be one of the more I think there are years where we leave the NFL draft disappointed. Like where did all the offensive skill players, why didn't they go higher even though we
Like
like these
clockwork, yeah.
players? And that might happen with some of our guys because not everybody can have a fantastic landing spot. There are only so many options. But I really believe that this year, and I've said this, we're going to be sitting there on day 2 and we're going to be very happy with what happens on day 2 because I have a feeling these NFL teams see what we're seeing. They're seeing the strength of this class being the running back, and it just feels like, I don't know. It just feels like Travion Henderson to the Bears, check. Quinshon Judkins to the Chargers or the Cowboys. Caleb Johnson, I don't know, to one of the other landing spots that we like. I just
Day
feel like it's
two
going to happen.
day two is going to be, it's going to be like playoff hockey. It's going to be like fourth quarter playoff basketball. It's going to be like big noon Saturday. Think about the two worst defenses in the Big 12 versus the two best offenses. Gus Johnson on the call. I mean, just bang, bang, bang. It's going to be electric. And it's because the talent pool is so deep that if you're really doing your research, when you look at the needs out there, like truly, unless all of these teams just decide, no, like we're good, we're not going to tap into this talent rich class, all of these guys are just going to start getting rattled off the board. And some people are going to be fallers. Like we see it every year, but we're going to see, I mean, it's going to be second round running backs. It's going to be Dylan Sampson, Devin Neal, Ollie Gordon, Cheryl Tootin. I mean, it's going to go bang, 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 bang. It is going to be so entertaining. I don't normally, I like watching the NFL draft, but it's classes like this that make me get so amped up for it because it feels like almost any name that gets called is going to be fantasy relevant.
Yeah, I can't. Well, now I can't wait. So I'm officially. I think I flipped. I'm like, God, just let it get here and let's watch some picks come in. Which, by the way, let's start making our picks
Yep.
here with the 4 round rookie mock draft real quick. I don't think I've done this for a single mock draft that we've done, but let me tell you about the format. It's basically the standard format now: Superflex, PPR, tight end premium. So there we go. With that being said, Matt Babich, you're on the clock at the 101.
All right. He is, by all accounts, the wide margin consensus pick here. I'm not even going to give a backup or a reasoning. Ashton Genty.
Yeah, I mean he's been our one consensus 101 since November. And I'm actually going to throw up, I've come basically all the way around on Tetero McMillan,
Me too.
and he's going to be my 102 here. I I I think in this class it's hard to ignore the wide receiver with elite traits. And say what you want to about Tedder McMillan, there's some things on tape that I definitely did not like. And some of them, and I know we're not allowed to do this, some of them are effort based. And if you want to go watch it on my YouTube channel, I did about a 20-minute breakdown of the all 22 film. And there's a play that just made me sick to my stomach where if he blocks his guy, there's a literally it's the difference between scoring a touchdown and not scoring a touchdown. And there was no way that the coaches didn't have it up on the film room the next day going like what the you were you doing here. So there is some of those concerns, but when you're talking about running these short intermediate routes, the hands are elite. The route running is really good. Tedero McMillan for me. I mean, I could have gone Omarion Hampton, which I'm sure is he's gonna be coming off the board here soon. But that's my pick at the 1-2.
Yeah, I've come around on Tet too. I think there was a lot of growth from 2023 to 2024. So there was a stark difference in tape. He truly, you see that upside blossoming that everyone, wants to talk about. And the effort-based concerns, the effort concerns are there. I think with Tet, I've come around to him being an elite prospect, but potentially a 1B maximum, in the NFL. I don't know if he's going to be that true alpha top 5 dynasty wide receiver, but I think there is a lot of potential there. I am going to go Marion Hampton here at the 103. And I do not like the quarterback class. I'm not strong on Cam Ward. I'm not strong on Shedeur Sanders. I feel like one of them is going to break out. I don't know who it is. It probably is Cam Ward, but give me a back like Omarion Hampton, who's truly built differently than the rest of them. I think in terms of complete skill set, you have Genty, Hampton, Henderson, and then there is a drop off. I don't think it's necessarily the largest drop off to Judkins and Caleb Johnson. I think those are very good backs. But in terms of requisite size, pass blocking, receiving chops, vision, agility, long speed, Hampton is in that group with the elite of the elite. And we've talked about it a little bit before, but Player Profiler's best comparable player for him is Jonathan Taylor. Keep in mind, this is not play style based. It's more from the profile, the height, weight, speed, and the college production. But Hampton, bell cow potential, 103.
All right, my pick at the 104 is going to be maybe my favorite player in this entire draft is Trevion Henderson. I mean, this guy he can do it all on tape. I really struggled when I was breaking him down to find a weakness. He can catch passes. I saw him line up like you should have seen him line up as a wide receiver, and you should have seen defenses just kind of look at each other like what do we do? Like okay, I guess a linebacker has to go out and try to cover him, which did not go well. I mean, just comically pulling away from these linebackers on these wheel routes. I mean, just an easy like if they Ohio State got the matchup they were looking for, it was not going to be good for the opposing defense. And I think that translates to the NFL. So Trevion Henderson for me, I'm gonna have a ton of them. I don't know. I might he's a player that if he's sitting there at the 105 or the 106 and I'm sitting there at the 108, 109, I'd be very tempted to try to get up there and trade for him because as you said, Matt, I do think that once we get past a certain player, and maybe we'll talk about it. I do think that there is a slight drop off at about the 106, 107 spot potentially, depending on how the draft goes.
Mm-hmm.
But and it's a little better in Superflex because you'll have some of these quarterbacks going. Like we're not high on these quarterbacks. Clearly, we haven't taken one here in the top 4 picks, but so that's how much I like Trevion Henderson. So I'll throw it to you for the 105.
Yeah, and I agree in it. Order it how you will, but this is my top 4 right now. And for 5, I will stop the skid and take Cam Ward. Here's where I'm comfortable taking him because I do think Cam Ward situation be damned, is going to be the quarterback of this class that makes something for himself and is a fantasy football asset, maybe not even a starter right away, but there's a lot of upside there. So we go back in 2021 as a 19-year-old at Incarnate Word threw for 4,600 yards and 47 touchdowns. That's a lot. And then he goes to Washington State and puts up 2 consecutive 3,000 yard seasons, 3,700 yards in his second season at Washington State, 48 total touchdowns. He threw into a bunch of nobodies, literally a bunch of nobodies. Go look at the rosters. Then he goes to Miami, and on the fewest pass attempts of his career as a full-time starter over the course of a season, he threw for 4,300 yards. That's going up from 6.5 and 7.7 yards per attempt up to 9.5. Career high in completion percentage, 67%. 39 touchdowns, second in his career, and set a career high in rushing, albeit only 204 yards. And again, this Miami roster in terms of pass catchers is not loaded. This is not a roster where we're going to see, oh my gosh, like that 2024 Miami roster, that offense was loaded. No. Cam Ward was pushing that offense. Now, he's probably going to Tennessee. A lot of people don't like that. But we're talking about a guy that's going to have a 4-year leash. That they're going to get things turned around into a relatively fantasy-friendly degree at some point. You could argue that it's not even that bad overall. I'm still going to say that Calvin Ridley, if they're going to draft somebody in this draft, there's no doubt in my mind. So Calvin Ridley, insert draft pick. Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears in the run game to help balance things out, lean on the run, play action, make things easy for Cam Ward. 2 back sets. You got 2 receiving backs there as well. You have Chigo Okonkwo, who's an athlete of a tight end. There are reasons to be at least somewhat optimistic about this Titans core. And so that's why I think Cam Ward deserves to still be up here.
Yeah, if they get, for example, Cam Ward and somebody like Emeka Egbuka in round 2, I don't think Egbuka should fall that far, but if it did happen, I think, yeah, the Titans would be doing circles, just happy as can be.
I mean, even like just real quick, like even Luther Burden, like Jaden Higgins or Jalen Noel. Yeah. There's so many options that could work for them.
Yeah, and I'm going to at the 1-6. I will not be taking a quarterback. I'll be taking Caleb Johnson. And Caleb Johnson's my pick because he, on an offense that you knew what was going to be coming because the quarterback play was bad. The pass catchers outside of maybe Luke Lachey weren't very good, and Luke Lachey didn't even have his best season last year. Caleb Johnson scored 57.5% of Iowa's touchdowns and was effective, even though the defense knew it was coming in the Big Ten. So when it comes down to him and Quinshon Judkins for me, who's my RB5, I just think Caleb Johnson has more upside. I know he ran the 4.57 at the 40 at the NFL Combine, 40-yard dash. Honestly, I don't care that much because I know what I've seen on tape, and Caleb Johnson, excuse me, has all the upside in the world, and I really believe he's going to find a good landing spot as well.
This one's a little tougher for me, but I'm going to go with the running back here, as I think this is another one. This is the last tier of these running backs that I think could be true game breakers in the next level, and that's Quinshon Judkins. Is it Quinshon or Quinshon? Quinshon?
Quinshon.
Well, I'm pretty sure I've been saying it wrong. But anyway.
Yeah.
Quinshon Judkins. I will start saying that correctly from now on. 1,570 yards rushing as a freshman at Ole Miss. Pretty low target share, but next year ends up cracking a 7% target share, 1,100 yards at Ole Miss, transfers to a backfield with Trevion Henderson, who the NFL yards, 16 touchdowns, and another 22 receptions, again, in a backfield with Trevion Henderson. I would be so interested to see what either of these back stats would look like if the other one weren't there last year, and what their draft capital would look like if the other one weren't there last year. Maybe they work better together. I don't know. But what I do know is Judkins has not only the skills, but the mindset to be an NFL running back. He's going to be beloved by coaches in his pass pro. And why is that so important? Because that means he's going to get on the field quicker. It's a tried and true thing in the NFL. If you cannot pass protect, you will not get on the field. Now, guys like are set to be in situations where they may be starters out the gate, but Caleb Johnson, pass blocking is one of his issues. If he gets put into an ambiguous situation, that could be really tough for him.
Yeah, no, I fully understand that Quinshon Judkins was more productive and more consistent, rather. I mean, this past year for Caleb Johnson was absolutely insane. And Quinshon Judkins obviously had to share a backfield with Trevion Henderson, but like I'm going with the upside swing with Caleb Johnson, and it's just by a nose. So I love that pick by you, and this is kind of where. And at least in my opinion, it's a tier down. And let us know what you think in the chat. Matt, let me know what you think. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to steal this guy from you. And this guy, after going back and forth between him and Luther Burden as the wide receiver 2, I'm picking Emeka Egbuka at the 108. I think, foolishly saying taking Emeka Egbuka is like hitting a double. I don't think Emeka Egbuka is like hitting a double. I think it's like hitting a double with the potential of it leaving the yard as a home run. Because like if you look at anything you want to look at, you want to look at the profile. Okay, let's look at the profile. He has the size that we look at for an elite wide receiver, 6'1", 202. He has 4.50 speed at a 40. He produced this year on an Ohio State team that had so many options in the running game, in the passing game. Jeremiah Smith is going to be probably, at least if not the 101 when he comes out in rookie drafts, in contention for being the 101. And look at the competition that he faced too at Ohio State throughout his career, and yet the last 2 seasons in 2022 and 2023, over 500 receiving yards, nothing crazy, but still, you turn on the tape and he's one of the more polished route runners in this class. You can't really say that about Luther Burden. So Emeka Egbuka for me, I think, is not just a double anymore. That was wrong of me to say. I think it's a safe pick, but it also has the potential of being a home run.
I can't believe you did that to me. That's crazy.
I
I was
just
so
updated my
sure. I was like, if I
rankings.
take Judkins here, then he'll take somebody else, and then I'll just take Egbuka at the 1-9. But I am no longer able to do that. But I commend you, because I do believe that is the right decision. I think Egbuka is the premier player. I do love Burden, and in fact, I'll be selecting him right now because we're at the 109, and now I'm willing to take a little bit more risk for upside on my first round picks. When we look at the board here, oh, you know what? There's tight end premium. I didn't remember this is tight end premium. Let's switch this out for Tyler Warren. In fact, you could argue Warren could go higher in tight end premium, but apologies there. Tyler Warren, I mean, he was. I'm seeing a lot of people tear him down because he had manufactured touches in college, and I don't know if I'm willing to buy that narrative. Like, oh no, my tight end was so good. The coach said we have to just be thinking of ways to get him the ball. That's not going to translate well to the NFL because tight end's a real position, and you gotta. Yes, we all know that tight end zealots. We know that you have to block. Like, we know that there's more things in there. That's why it's good that he's 6'6", 260 and can block. So I'm fading all these manufactured touches BS because it's great that happened. And then there's also people with the late breakout, couldn't get ahead of Theo Johnson. I don't know. What more do you want me to say? Like, put on the film, watch his 1,200 yard, 8 touchdown season, and tell me he's not good at football. Watch it against some of the best competition in college football and tell me he's not good. Now, I am willing to hear the Colston Loveland versus Tyler Warren debates because I think there's nuance to Loveland's stats being at Michigan. But don't tell me, don't knock down, don't pretend that Tyler Warren is bad because you like other people. Tyler Warren is very good.
Yeah, and I know there was something to be made out of some people were making something out of his. I've never heard so much talk about wingspan versus short arms. To be honest, I trust the film. Like I have my guys that I trust. So in the film room, in the analytics department, I'm speaking as though we have a film room and an analytics department, which we don't. But anyway, I have people that I trust their opinions. I trust my own opinion, which is based around several people I trust and my own analysis. So Tyler Warren is very clearly the tight end one for me. I don't understand that debate whatsoever. I'm willing to be dead wrong on that. And this next pick is going to be Luther Burden. Um, I think that my comp for him all along has been Jalen Waddle. I do think it's a little concerning that the production dropped off, but I think the Missouri offense was. I didn't quite understand what they were doing at times. I don't know if they quite understood what they were doing at times. It should have been more centered around a player like Luther Burden, and the fact that they used him more as a gadgety player, I don't think that bodes well for him long term. But I do recognize that he's an elite talent with a profile that I really like. So, and some of the stuff, and I won't even talk about that. Well, I'll talk about it when he gets drafted. But the pick is Luther Burden for me. I'll throw it to you at the 111. Oh, you're muted. We did it. We
Did
did
it
it.
again.
We have to do it.
At
Yep.
the 111, I will go right back to the tight end position and take Colston Loveland. So they are very close in my eyes, like same tier of prospect. Like I think they deserve to be going very close to each other in drafts, despite or no matter the format. And again, the box score stats are going to be disappointing. 649 being his career high in receiving yards, 5 being his career high in touchdowns, which was last year, 649 2 years ago. But when we look at the target share, 18% his sophomore season, 28% his junior season, early declare at age 20. Surprisingly, has a 99th percentile college dominator rating on player profiler. That's not something I would have expected. It's an 87th percentile breakout rating. And when you look at the frame, 6'6", 250, that's workable. Plenty of athleticism to go along with it. And a follow on Twitter that I have, I mean, he is the tight end guy for me in terms of technique, like evaluating prospects. He has Loveland being the best inline blocker in this class by far. And that to me was the first resounding signal of like, okay, the NFL is going to weigh him very seriously. We already got first round picks coming in. So he's going to get day 2 capital at worst. So Colston Loveland.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Especially in a tight end premium format. I will be ending the run on Travis Hunter. I didn't
Good.
necessarily like what I was hearing today. I saw a tweet basically that said like if they don't let him play both ways, then he won't play, and he's already talked to several teams about basically playing both ways, which doesn't bode well for us in fantasy. But if I'm sitting at the 112 and I just won the championship, this is exactly the kind of pick that I'm going to make, because I'm assuming you don't have any other second round picks where in the early second round, I don't see him falling much farther than this. So getting a potential, and I'm not joking when I say this, a potential superstar at the wide receiver position at the 112, if he were to play wide receiver, and who knows, maybe he changes his mind and is like, I just want to play wide receiver. I don't know. But this is, and this is no hyperbole, this is no yeah, hyperbole is the right word. This is the most polarizing player in fantasy football right now, because if things go right for him, and the rumor is the Browns are gonna pick him at number 2, we'll see if that happens. If they use him primarily as a wide receiver, this could be the best pick in your rookie draft, hands down.
Could be the best pick you've ever made in a rookie draft and will
Yeah,
ever make in a rookie
yeah.
draft. It's interesting. Like I wonder if it's noise too. Like there's so much influence from media to try and get people to manipulate people in the
Mm-hmm.
media. So who knows if Hunter's camp is releasing this because maybe there's a team that isn't as friendly to the idea of him playing both ways, and this is his way of saying, "Hey, there are teams that are going to want to use me the right way. So maybe I'll just not play for your team if you don't want to do that." Who knows what's going on behind the scenes? It's just hard. It's the hardest position to be in as a dynasty manager, because odds are when your rookie draft happens, we're still going to have no idea how much, where, how often, and you're just going to have to go for it. To be quite honest, even in this format, by the time if I'm on the 108, I'm thinking real hard about it.
Yeah.
It's all
Oh
about
yeah.
risk. It's all about, how risk adverse you are. I'll take on the risk. Let's have some fun. And if you're like that, then just take some flyers on Hunter, because it's going to be a fun story if you're right at the very least. I'm going to take his teammate, his fellow, getting his number retired at Colorado after a
Jeez.
solid 13-12 record. Shadur Sanders. I do think, again, like we're in a super flex draft and we have a probably top 10 draft pick here at the 201. So I think this is easy, but at the same time, I think it's fairly proper in terms of where he should be going, because I don't have that much. I don't have that much faith. My issue is I am not a good evaluator of quarterbacks. Now, 99% of all humanity can say the same thing, but that's the risk you have to take. Like the super flex quarterback is the hottest commodity in dynasty football. So if you have a guy that's gonna, again, top 10 pick, he has a long leash. This is how organizations work. We have never seen, or very rarely see, a rookie quarterback taken this high that doesn't have 2 to 3 years at minimum to figure it out. So Sanders, I mean, he did post really good QBRs, like good completion percentages. I think there's a lot that's wrong about his game. I think there's the tendency to continue to drift backwards. There's the sacks, and all of those things are what generally kills rookie quarterbacks. But then we have guys like Jaden Daniels and Joe Burrow that have bad pressure to sack rates and find a way to do the opposite in the NFL, whether that's through the situation, through the coaching, through personal development, combination of the three. I do not know. But we have seen quarterbacks with Sanders' faults turn things around and have that not be an issue. It's why all the pressure to sack people look like fools for fading Jaden Daniels. So why not Shadur?
Yeah, I do not like Shador Sanders at all. And that doesn't mean that he's not a value here, especially if he gets top 10 draft capital. But I'll I'll go ahead and throw up Matthew Golden at the 2-2. I wish I could have seen more of what Matthew Golden did towards the end of this season on film, because I think he has elite traits, and some people are saying, especially this, picked up steam after the combine, that he was going to be the first wide receiver off the board, and I suppose that could happen. But if that happens and you take Matthew Golden over Tedero McMillan, Emeka Egbuka, heck, even over Luther Burden, I am going to say that is a mistake. And that's just how I feel about that. Obviously, you're not going to get a shot at Travis Hunter because he's going in the top 3, top 5 at the very least, or at the very worst. So, Matthew Golden, for me, I think this is responsible. I think that this is probably the low end for him in reality, but getting him here at the 202 feels like a massive value. So I'll take the value.
Yeah, I really like that pick there, and this is where I start. This is where you can almost convince me of so many picks
Yeah.
at all these picks in the second round. I think a theme of ours over the past couple of months and something I'm going to continue to stick with is going with our gut on what this class is truly going to be built off of, and that's the running backs. And so I'm going to go with my next best running back here, and that's Devin Neal. So Devin Neal's a player that both of us really like, and really all again, of course, it's the same for everybody, but all that needs to happen is just a situation that's not horrible. Any situation that's not horrible, and Devin Neal is going to have production in year one. The athleticism isn't going to all you, but that's okay. We don't need running backs to be uber athletic. He has a good enough speed, good enough burst. The big thing is he's got receiving chops. Now at Kansas, we're not going to see any running back blow you out of the water with their box score stats, receiving wise. But an 81st percentile college target share at Kansas is good. Very good, really. That's elite percentile or bordering on elite percentile. He had 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons, 2 straight 1,250-yard seasons, 3 straight 10 touchdown seasons, 2 straight 17 touchdown seasons. Again, dominator rating with those stats in mind, 85th percentile. So this is somebody that, despite being at a bad school, was putting up a lot of great production, and that's going to translate. If you look at the film, what he does well will translate to the NFL.
Yeah. I like him quite a bit, and I'm a little upset that you took him at this stage. But it also leaves the door open for me to take my quarterback 2 in this class, and that would be Jackson Dart. So I think that this is the perfect spot to take him. He is my the next. There is one player ranked ahead of him on my rankings right now. He's my 15th overall player, so I'm getting him right where I feel like he should go. And you just look at the production over the last couple years. I mean, through over 3,300 passing yards, 23 touchdowns to just 5 interceptions, 4,200 passing yards this past year. His completion percentage went up every single year and was close to 70% this year, 29 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. And he's going to give you something on the ground. And I'm just saying this right now. There are I think Jackson Dart's going to go in the first round, and I don't think that's a hot take. I know some people are going to think it's a hot take, and I think that there's a real chance that he goes ahead of Shedeur Sanders. And I would take him if I was an NFL team ahead of Shedeur Sanders. That's how much I like Jackson Dart, and I think it's a lot closer between him and Cam Ward than people think. I think Cam Ward's locked into the number 1 pick, so I don't think that's even a conversation worth having. But if I was one of these NFL teams that is in quarterback purgatory, I'm looking at you, New Orleans. I'm looking at the Jets potentially. Justin Fields is not the answer. I got news for you. The Raiders. Like, I'm not saying that they're going to take him in the top 10. I'm not even saying that they'll take him in the, well, if they don't take him in the top 10, then they're not getting him. I'm saying that these are potential teams that could trade back into the first round at the end of the first round and take Jackson Dart. And I think that's where he's likely going to get drafted. So if that happens, I will feel really good about taking Jackson Dart here. So,
all right, now we're getting spicy. I'm gonna
yeah.
go back to the receiver position, and if we're gonna make time, I'm gonna keep these. I go into it with like, all right, I'm gonna give a good minute here, and then I catch myself in my head. I'm like, this isn't happening, is it?
Yeah.
Elikai Manor from Stanford. I have
Oh,
shaken
nice.
up my receiver rankings, and a certain wide receiver from Ole Miss will remain nameless has fallen. But guys like Elikai Manor that pop up on the film and just are constantly winning their routes. They're winning in different parts of the field. They're getting deployed in numerous different ways. They have an expanded route tree. And when you're like Ellick and you're a 6'2", 206 frame, you have 88th percentile speed, 84th percentile burst, which is actually a very important metric for receiver athleticism. 83rd percentile college dominator rating, 90th percentile college target share. Coming out after 2 years at Stanford and getting day 2 buzz immediately is something that has probably gone a little bit under discussed in this draft cycle.
I love LKU Manor. I really do. I think that's a good pick. I will be taking your guy, Trey Harris at the 2-6. I think you could do a lot worse than Trey Harris. I do think he has a wide range of outcomes, if I can speak. Meaning, he could be this year's Adonai Mitchell, but he could also be really, really good. And Trey Harris at Ole Miss was really, really good. You like the size, you like the speed that goes with the size, good burst, over 1,000 yards receiving this year. But really, I mean, it's funny how metrics work. It's funny how stats work because he was so close the past 2 seasons to being 1,000-yard receiver, but he didn't quite meet that threshold that some people have. But he did catch 10 touchdown passes in 2022 at Louisiana Tech. So we'll see. I know that there's a stigma hanging over the Ole Miss receivers because of Jonathan Mingo, but I think that this guy's a lot better than Jonathan Mingo. So getting him here at the 2-6 feels like a value.
Yeah, the one thing I'm worried about Trey Harris with is like his route tree, his success by route tree, and like the percentages of routes he ran. He was running a high percentage of routes that he was performing very poorly in. So it worries me, and especially because the corner out, dig, and post are important routes for a bona fide X to be running in
Yeah.
the NFL. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of upside there. And at the
Yeah.
2-6 for a guy who at one point, and granted, this is tight end premium super flex, but at one point we were ranking inside the top 12 pretty consistently. That's a good value in my opinion. He would have been my next receiver off the board, tied with who I'm going to draft here, Jalen Noel. I'm a huge Jalen Noel fan. Maybe it's a little bit early with consensus, but there's so much to love about his profile. Matt Harmon just released his reception perception on him, and his route tree looks phenomenal in terms of how he's winning on the field. And this might be a take that gets poo-pooed by draft capital, but I'm going to do it. This is the last chance I have, or one of the last chances I have to have draft capital not impact a mock draft. And I'm going to go with pure talent. And I think Jalen Noel, who has the athleticism, has the production profile, just get him where he can play, and it's going to be lights out. I mean, if you have any sort of borderline wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 in an offense, Jalen Noel is going to take their job.
Yeah, another receiver that I absolutely love, and I as the process has gone along, and as we've dug deeper and deeper into these prospects, the more I think that this wide receiver class is actually pretty good, and I'm going to be taking another wide receiver here, and I'm going to take his running mate over at Iowa State, and that's Jaden Higgins. Jaden Higgins, and I know this comp is going to make some people unhappy, but I think it's a good comp. Reminds me a lot of Michael Pittman when I watch him play. Bigger wide receiver, has a knack for getting open, can run just about any route that you want him to, and he's athletic to boot. So I'll throw it right back to you at the 2-9.
I am going to go. It's getting tough. I'm going to take Jalen Milroe. I'm going to take Jalen Milroe. 2-9. Hey, the dude is invited to the NFL draft. I know not everyone who gets invited there gets drafted in the first round.
I'm glad you brought that up because I don't think that's nothing, because the NFL does not want these guys to just be sitting there. So I don't think that's nothing. As stupid as that sounds, I think that's a really good point you just made.
And we're at the 2-9. I'm looking at a tier of running backs where I'm like, yeah, we could hit on an Ollie Gordon or a Dylan Sampson or a Brashard Smith, but what does hitting on that really look like? Like, let's think realistically. We're in the back of the second round, and we can get a potential starting quarterback in the next 1 to 2 years. Let's be honest. If Jalen Milroe gets anything day 2 or better draft capital, he will be starting games at some point within the next season and a half. It's just probability. We had Spencer Rattler out there. We had Jake Haener out there last year. It gets disgusting. So Jalen Milroe will be playing football games.
Yeah, and he's one of the few quarterbacks in this draft class, and it's one of the reasons I took Jackson Dart where I did, with the rushing upside that we're looking for. So again, a lot to improve with his game, but yeah, the fact that he got invited to the NFL draft and the fact that he's going means that there's at least a decent chance that he gets taken in round one. I still don't think that that's going to happen. We'll see, but I don't think that's nothing. I think that that's a sign that he has an increased chance to get drafted in round one. I will be taking Dylan Sampson here. Dylan Sampson has been my running back 6 throughout the process, so getting him here feels like stealing, to be honest with you. He produced when Jalen Wright was there in 2023, so this just isn't one flash in the pan season. He scored 22 touchdowns this past year, and he's elusive, he's slippery, he can catch passes. I like him a lot, so I'll throw it right back to you at the 211.
I'm going to go with, I don't love it, but I think when the NFL draft is said and done, Ollie Gordon here is going to make a lot of sense, because I don't think a lot of people are going to care about the tread on his tires, or that, he had a down season at Oklahoma State, who was just who's absolutely awful on all aspects. I think they're going to see the 1,700-yard season and 22 touchdowns, 39 receptions, over 300 receiving yards, 10% target share at Oklahoma State, and watch the film on when he was running during those games and be like, yeah, this guy could probably play football. This guy who's 6'1", 226 can probably play football. And you're going to say, he's 40. It was a 4.61, and that's actually, I don't care. Because 66 percentile speed, given his size, again, isn't terrible. The dude is a bowling ball. You're telling me he can't get a 1B David Montgomery role with a lot of goal line touches early on in his career? I think Tyler Knabley said it like way back when we were on a stream with him, but Gordon just seems like a guy the NFL, someone is going to fall in love with.
Yeah. I think that's a great call. I think that's somebody I probably have too low in my rankings right now because, I mean, you said it. He has the size. And what really stands out to me, and you could say, oh, well, he didn't produce in 2024. Caught 30 passes this past year. Caught 39 the year before that. For a bigger guy who's 21 years old, just turned 21. Like, I honestly don't. The 40 is so overrated. It does not matter. Like, the 40, if we've learned anything about the 40-yard dash, how much does it matter in the grand scheme of things? Like, the Raiders picked all those guys who ran awesome 40s back in the day. It doesn't matter. It matters how fast are you with pads on, not how fast are you with shorts on. And like, it's not about like, how can I train to run the perfect 40-yard dash? It's how can I train to run the fastest possible on the field and be elusive and run in between the tackles and have great vision and patience. And Ollie Gordon has a lot of that stuff. So I like that pick a lot. Now, I will be taking your guy. I'm just stealing Matt Babbich's guys because Brashard Smith, you said it, and I'm completely stealing this take from you. So all the credit for this goes to Matt Babbich. Brashard Smith is this year's Tyrone Tracy Jr. Look no further than right now. If you want to basically a player with very similar upside that you can get probably in round 3, I'm probably way ahead of consensus here. It's Brashard Smith. So with that being said, let's start round 3 and let's pick up the pace just a little bit because I don't mind going over a little bit, but we are on pace to do, well, an hour and a half show. That's not horrible, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
So the 301, I'm going to take RJ Harvey. So everyone knows at this point, if you're following along, he's got incredible speed, but it's really the production and how he looks on film that really jumps out to me. 1,400-yard seasons 2 years in a row, 1,577 yards last year, 25 touchdowns last year, 20 receptions in 2 different seasons throughout his career. and he's got the breakaway speed. He has vision. He's incredible at bounce, like kicking things out to the outside, albeit sometimes does it a little too much, but has so much explosive playmaking ability and has the pass catching chops, upper percentile, 75th percentile college target share. Give me RJ Harvey.
That's a good pick, and he's some people's. I can't get there, but some pretty prominent people in the fantasy space have him as a top 5 running back. I think Cody might be one of those people. I'm gonna take an upside swing on Bashul Tootin. We all know what happened at the NFL Combine, and I just went on a rant and basically said the 40 doesn't matter. But Bashul Tootin ran a really fast 40, and I think he's really fast on tape as well. Just go look at the profile. I mean, elite burst, elite speed, good, decent size, but he fits the mold of one of these undersized running backs that just produced in college and that I think can be very effective in the NFL. We've seen it with, and I'm not comparing him to any of these players, but we've seen it with Devon Achane. We saw it. We started to see it with Keaton Mitchell. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is sub 200 pounds, and that's what Bashul Tootin is. So he fits the profile. He has to clean up some fumbling issues, but I'm just going to say this. Round 3 to the Chiefs, I've been saying it all along, feels like a perfect match. So let's all hope that that happens. And with that being said, I'll throw it right back to you for your pick at the 303.
All right, with the 303 in a tight end premium league, I also am going to take an upside swing. And it's backtracking a little bit on what I've said because I've poo-pooed a little bit on Harold Fannin Jr. throughout this process. But at the 3-3 in a tight end premium, why not just take a shot on a guy who had 1,500 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns? Why not? Yeah, he might be a Isaiah Likely-esque tight end where you really can't roll him out in single tight end sets because he's not really that good of an inline blocker, and you have to kind of scheme up roles for him. But at the other side of the coin, a 3rd-round pick for a guy who could be playing a lot of 3rd wide receiver for a team, there's a lot of value in that in tight end premium. I mean, hell, even if one of his teammates goes down throughout the year, like in Isaiah Likely's case, and he is strung up into a role where he's getting starting snaps, he is already more valuable than most tight ends on the marketplace. So when we get to this point with tight ends, maybe just take the dart throw on somebody who could be an incredible receiver at the NFL.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm so happy you did that because I thought for sure that I honestly we've shame on us, and myself included, for letting Cam Scatabo fall this far. Cam Scatabo is a really good football player. I know that Matt's gonna go, but what about the profile? I don't care. I've watched the film, and he's really, really good. I don't really care that his 40 is probably bordering on 4.7, because he's really good in between the tackles. I heard very similar arguments that I'm hearing about Cam Scatabo thrown at me when I was all in on David Montgomery, and look how that turned out. And that's been my comp for Cam Scatabo this entire time, is David Montgomery, because he's very similar, a very similar type player. He deals with backfield chaos very well. He's tough to bring down. He's agile. He's quicker laterally than you think he is. When everything's about straight line speed, he's very quick to get outside, and he's very shifty for somebody that is. I don't think he's necessarily a big running back. He's 5'9.5", 219, but for somebody that's almost 220 pounds, he's very agile. So Cam Scatabo for me. I'll throw it to you.
Cam Scatabo,
305.
here is my comp for Cam Scatabo. Clip this separate video because this is the best comp that anyone's ever delivered for Cam Scatabo. He is white, power 5, James Robinson. Shifty, little powerful, not a lot of top end speed. I do not think he is a long-term fantasy viable running back in the NFL. I think he is a jag.
Ooh,
I think he
those
just
those
doesn't have
those are fighting words.
he doesn't have the upside game breaker that I think some of these other running backs at this level have. I think Ollie Gordon's a better pure rusher with hands. And then you have Smith, maybe the hypocritical stance, but in a pure pass catching role, he could be very talented. I think the 95th percent, like the 14% target share last year, 45 receptions, that's the biggest blip. Because like I think if he has another 24, 286 season, we're thinking about him a little bit differently. But that really pops out. I think he's a one-hit wonder. I think I see him and I think, okay, this guy's pretty good. But I've seen a lot of guys in college that looked pretty good that didn't look good in the NFL. And I don't know. Again, I'm not a professional talent evaluator, but he seemed to be a guy that just didn't get me going. But anyway, I've talked enough about my retort on your pick in Cam Scatabo. I'll just go ahead. No, I'll go back to the running back. I'll take DJ Giddens out of Kansas State. So Giddens, much like RJ Harvey, very fast. Not like RJ. He's a little bit taller than RJ Harvey. So his BMI is a little bit worse. Doesn't quite run as hard. Similarly, has very good receiving production in college. 220 reception seasons. 29 receptions in 2023, 323 receiving yards in 2023, 1,200 and 1,300 yards at Kansas State. Again, an offense that wasn't producing a lot. So ends up being a pretty talented rusher. I do think I'm gonna just, for your sake, I think there's a teardrop here, and I do have Scatabo in this range. I just don't like him as much as you do, and I think there's a reason he's a third-round pick.
Yeah, I have Scatabo. Where do I have him? Let me just ruin the podcast by counting. I have him as my RB10, right ahead of RJ Harvey. So I do like him quite a bit more than consensus, probably. I don't know. But I think according to ECR,
you might be lower than on consensus than Cam Scatabo.
Right. I think you're right, because I think I was perusing the Fantasy Pros ECR rankings, and he was their RB6, I think.
He's the 16th player in Superflex tight end premium for Keep Trade Cuts rookie rankings. Okay. RB 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Yep.
Yeah. Well, then maybe I don't like Cam Scatabo at value.
I'm fine with him at 3-4. Like you could take him at 3, like at the third round, or bat like 212. Honestly, 212 through now, fine. Player 16, no,
that's way too high. Yes, he is the RB6 according to the expert rankings over at Fantasy Pros.
But again, some guy, a guy who an NFL team will fall in love with, surely. Like he does have that aura, so to speak, about him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and he's player number 19 overall according to in Superflex. So that's, I mean, yeah, never mind. I like Cam Scatabo as a player, but he's just not. I'm not that high on him. So I guess we are below consensus. I guess we are agreeing more than we thought we were gonna agree.
It's usually like that.
Yeah, we try to manufacture arguments on this show, but we just can't do it because we're too like-minded. I don't know if we should bring in some wild card third player into this picture, but I don't know. I think this works pretty well. 3-6. You're right. Jack Besh for me. I like good football players, and I think Jack Besh is a really good football player, and I think that he's gonna get better draft capital than everybody thinks, and I think he's one of the more polished receivers in this class. I mean, he was the MVP of the Senior Bowls. You don't win that award if you're bad. So I'll throw it right back to you. 307.
To be honest, live switch, I almost might like Damian Martinez more than DJ Giddens. It's very close, but I'm going to take DJ Martinez here. Or sorry, Damian Martinez.
DJ Martinez.
I got there. If we could combine them. But speaking of polish, like he does look very polished coming out of Miami. The production profile isn't necessarily that of what some of these other backs are. But again, you turn on the film, Miami quite obviously a bad offense and then a pass heavy offense with Cam Ward in. So there's a little bit of nuance there to some of his numbers, but Martinez looks very good on film, a guy who can pass block as well. So there's going to be some teams that are going to be happy with that. Probably going to get better draft capital than even a few of these guys that went before him.
And I'll stick with running back. And I don't know why this guy has been getting some shade. But Jordan James, the more I watch, he's not phenomenal, I don't think, but you start to dig a little bit deeper on what he was able to do in college. 759 rushing yards, sharing a backfield with Bucky Irving, 15 receptions that year, 12 total touchdowns. That was the stat I was looking for. And then this year, 1,267 rushing yards, 15 touchdowns, 26 receptions. I have to believe that is more of an indicator of what he can do at the next level. And like I said, he doesn't, I think he's exceptional at making cuts, and I think his vision's very good, but I don't know if his decision making at times, I just question his ability to maybe get outside, but running in between the tackles, I think he'd be a really good fit for like a zone blocking scheme. And I honestly haven't looked at his PFF to see if he's more of a zone runner or not, but to me, that's just kind of how it felt when I was watching his tape. But anyway, I'll throw it to you at the 309.
All right, I'm going to go Elijah Arroyo back to the tight end well here. It came out of nowhere, really. Spent 4 games in 2022, played 1 game in 2023, and all of a sudden, 12 games, 2024, 35 receptions on 45 targets, 590 yards. That's 93rd percentile efficiency with 17 yards per reception on a 9% target share only, and 7 touchdowns for Miami last year. So came onto the scene and showed that he can have that big play production. And that's really what we love for tight ends is the ability, like the George Kittle, the Travis Kelce, the Mark Andrews, to be able to find the open space and then work your magic in the open field and make those big plays happen. You generally aren't going to see, all downfield contested catches from these guys. 6'5", 250 has a good enough frame to get in line right away. So give me the upside bet here.
And I will take Jalen Royals. I'll be sprinting to the podium. And this is an upside play. Just go look at his stats. I mean, video game like numbers at Utah State with terrible quarterback play. I should know more than anyone how bad Spencer Petras was. He was bad at Iowa. He wasn't good at Utah State. Jalen Royals produced anyway, and he was on pace to have just a really special season. If he wouldn't have got hurt, I really believe he would be taken a lot higher. So I feel like I'm getting a discount here. Jalen Royals for me. Throw it to you at the 311.
I hate to do this. I don't want to do this, but this is just how this game works. I have to do this. I'm going to take Quinn Ewers. We're in the back of the third. We're in the back of the third round. And at this point, let me just be clear. This is whatever quarterback after these 4 has the best draft capital. Like, I don't think it'll be Dylan Gabriel. It might be Will Howard. Again, I don't think any of them are good.
Yeah.
But it's just at a certain point in Dynasty, truly, I turn my mind off and I just play probability. And like I'm making an actual like Vegas bet. I just go with the probability. And the fact is, a guy like Will Howard or Quinn Ewers who fart their way into a starting lineup by October for whatever reason, they're valuable. Even if I can just re-roll into a 3rd round pick next year, I'm okay with that because right now what I see, it's not great. I don't see a lot of options where I'm like, yes, I think my odds on getting an equal or greater return on investment for this asset or using them in my starting lineup is better than what I could get on throw a dart at a quarterback, any quarterback. When we play the format, guys like Arroyo, guys like Ewers, they may not be the sexiest picks. But when you start flirting with the Isaiah Bonds and the Xavier Restrepos and the Trevor Etiennes of the tiers that we're in, sometimes you just got to go for it.
Yeah. I'm gonna retort by saying Quinn Ewers is terrible.
He's bad. But
He's
guess what?
horrible.
Sam
Yeah.
Ellinger was bad. He started games.
Yeah. I suppose. I suppose. But that's all I have to say about that. I'll be taking my first tight end. How about this? Mason Taylor for me. Come on down. I think he let me double check this. I think yes, he's my tight end 3 in this class. Like him, I like him. Obviously, I'm waiting till now to draft him, which tells you kind of how I feel about the tight ends. It may be the tight end position as a whole, but I won't go down that rabbit hole too far. Let's go rapid fire for round 4 if we can. We are right at an hour. I think we can get out of here. Maybe hour 10, hour 15. We'll
All right.
see. We'll see. Go.
Ty
I'll
Felton out of
good,
Maryland,
good pick. Good pick. I love that. He's one of
receiver
my
with a lot
favorite
of
sleepers.
upside.
One of my favorite sleepers, you son of a bitch. Nice pick. I understand that this guy's probably, you know what? No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna pick a play out of Matt Babbage's book and go Dylan Gabriel because I think he is the quarterback that you probably should have drafted at the 311.
I agree. I went to consensus.
Anyway, your
I
move.
didn't have I you know what though, thank you. Because I didn't have the balls to do Dylan Gabriel. So I applaud you for calling me out on that and then just taking him anyway. That was the right thing to do. And I'm gonna be better in the future going forward. Give me Taj Brooks.
Another fantastic pick.
There's a few, I
Uh,
mean, there is quite a few sleeper running backs and receivers though that I do like in this class. I think it's just figuring out how to pick the right ones, which is gonna be a landmine, but
Yeah, I'm telling you, there are people just throwing away 4th round picks, and I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I understand this guy is probably still in the. Actually, no, I'm gonna go Isaiah Bond. I know is dealing with some legal troubles, uh, but
ugh,
but he claims he's innocent. I don't know too
he's
much
not.
outside of
I
that.
don't think.
Well, we don't know anything, Matt. We don't know anything about that. He claims he's innocent.
We
He
don't
has a
know
lot of
anything about
upside.
it, but it's concerning when
Yeah.
people close to your situation and team classify your off the field concerns worse than Jermaine Burton level.
Oh, well, I didn't see that, but that would be pretty bad. But it's I think it's worth an upside shot here in the 4th round, but it could be burning a pick. But I'm willing to
Hey,
do that in the
it's
fourth
very
round.
fair. Like, you know,
Yeah.
Rasheed Rice is facing a criminal charge right now and it is still playing. No court date.
Yeah.
So hey, I get it.
Maybe the
Um,
Chiefs can draft them and just keep adding to their collection of miscreants. But anyway, 4 or 5.
I'm gonna go with Torrey Horton. So season cut short with an injury, Colorado State. So there's a couple of things working against him, but he's got a good size, he's got great speed, and he has the requisite production metrics, albeit at a smaller school. But even if he's just used as a deep threat guy in the 4th round, a guy like Torrey Horton could be a big value.
I like that pick a lot. It's almost like you're reading my list right off from under me. I'm gonna take. I understand he's still running his 40
I like
time
that.
and all the jokes, ha ha ha, he. But when you turn on the film, I mean Xavier Restrepo was seriously somebody that I think we were drafting in the 2nd round, like 2-3 months ago in these rookie mocks. So getting him here feels like the ultimate value, and I think that 40-yard dash time is not going to be as important in 3-4 months from now than, or heck, even a week from now when the NFL draft happens. So give me Xavier Restrepo, 470 you.
I can't believe he didn't come out as a sophomore, so I'm just going to pretend the other 2 seasons didn't happen. Rocket Sanders, Raheem Sanders.
Okay.
1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns, 28 receptions for nearly 300 yards at Arkansas was very, very good. Has an injury the next year on a already bad season, follows it up, transfers to South Carolina, doesn't have a terrible year, does quietly have 27 receptions for 316 yards, which is solid. So he ends up with 74th percentile target share and 91st percentile speed at 6 foot 217. I think there's a lot to like about somebody who used to be considered a top 2 or a 2nd round pick or better before he decided not to come out.
Yeah, and I will take another tight end here and take Terrence Ferguson. I think that This is a
I like that.
this is how I want to play this. Just real briefly, like spending a first round pick. I like where you got Tyler Warren, so I would be fine with him there. But I have a feeling he's going to go higher than that. Colston Loveland, same story. I think they're probably both going to get first round draft capital. I would much rather take one of those other options in round one and wait on tight end. And that's how I like to fill the position anyway. And if I can get Mason Taylor in round three and Terrence Ferguson in round four of my rookie draft, I would be ecstatic with that. So 4-9 for you.
Can you answer why Trevor Etienne is like so high in all these like rankings and stuff? He's not on this board, but like I don't see it. I'm gonna take Jarquez Hunter.
Okay.
Senior breakout. I really like what I see out of his film. Stouter guy, but still has 80th percentile speed. Hit 1,200 yards last year, 800 the year before, and not much of a receiver. More of a long runner, but does have some strength and some brute to him. So I like Jarquez Hunter.
Yeah, Cody likes Jarquez Hunter for me. I have him at 46 overall. But yeah, I like him quite a bit. He's a guy that I have earmarked to watch a little bit more. I might have to make an adjustment. Um, Marcus Yarns, I'm gonna take him right now. I really like what he has the potential to be. I understand he went to, oh, whoops. I understand he went to Delaware. And so a lot of your buddies are not even going to know about Marcus Yarns. They might have heard him as a blimp on their social media feed, maybe at the Senior Bowl. But outside of that, I'm, I don't know if they're going to know who he is. I think he's a really good pass catcher. I think he's shifty as a runner. I think he's elusive. I think he's really good, and I understand he didn't play the competition is gonna like he didn't play against the top tier competition, but I think he was pretty good in his time at Delaware. So 4-11.
I will take Jadon Blue, two guys who him and Yarns. I'm going to be wanting a lot in these late round picks. After understandably playing behind some really good talent in Texas, has 730 yards, 14 touchdowns, and a whopping 42 receptions, 370 yards. He could be who I want Brashard Smith to be. A little bit smaller, I believe, more closer to like Naeem Hines height. So like that might be the issue. But Jadon Blue as a pass catcher and even a rusher, just him and Yarns both have incredible sleeper profiles.
It's unbelievable that we're at the 412, and I'm like, there are like three guys I really want to take. But Kyle Williams, from Washington
He fell a
State.
little too far, yeah.
Yeah, he's a little bit too far down my rankings, to be honest. I haven't adjusted well, so he's probably should be a little bit
Agree.
higher. But I, I think he's got some potential. He probably should. I don't know exactly where he should have gone, but he's going to go a lot higher than this. I can promise you in your rookie draft, because he's getting some. His name's starting to get some heat to it. So we did it, man. We did it. This is our 4-round rookie mock draft. Any thoughts? How do you think we did here?
I think we'll brand it as four round rookie mock draft in 60 minutes, and we did shoot the shit for like 8 minutes to start this. So like we pretty much wrapped this up in 60 minutes exactly. So I think that's impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty good for us. So if you haven't already, click the like button. That helps us out with the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel if you want more of this content. And go follow us on Twitter at Babbage_Matt10 if you want to follow Matt, at Seth_DIEWOLD if you want to follow me. And you can follow the show at FF Dynasty Table on Twitter. I can never remember our own Twitter handle, but I think that's it. So yeah, that's gonna do it for us. But guess what? We're a week away by the time this comes out from the NFL draft. We want to hear your comments. We want to hear your thoughts on how do you think we did, how stupid our picks were, how great they were. We'll take anything as long as it's, I don't know, not too graphic in nature. As long as it's nothing that should be, on some kind of porn website. I don't know.
Where are we going with this, Seth?
You don't want to open it up to just all possibilities.
Do this.
You don't want to open up to just every possibility. So I had to, there are some limitations that, maybe stick to fantasy football. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be much help as a life coach, but anyway, thank you so much for watching. Nobody cares about Aaron Rodgers. Chase Brown's days are numbered, and we'll see you next time. Wiseman for Heisman. I got them all in. Bye bye, everybody.